Hi everyone, welcome again to Bake Your Way Kitchen. On today's video I'm going to talk about eggs and their use in recipes. So here I've got a dozen free run eggs. Well, actually I only have 4 in here, but it doesn't matter. So today I'm going to talk to you about eggs. Eggs are very important in a lot of our baking. A few examples where they really stand out are things like brownies, creme brulee, a meringue. Eggs have got so many purposes, and it's so important in the baking process. When it comes to things like meringues, for example, meringues are primarily made up of sugar and egg whites, and you're able to create such a beautiful product from just a few ingredients. So it's how you use them that really makes the difference. So what I've got here are large eggs. For baking, I would recommend to always get large eggs. You don't want to get medium, you don't want to get extra large, because large is not all eggs are the same size, but it's the approximate size that you would need. Eggs are important because in many recipes they help bind ingredients together, which really does make a huge difference when you're talking things like cookies or things like that. But not only that, they add a layer of richness. If you have creme brulee, you know about that richness that you're getting is from those eggs. In many creme brulee recipes, it can be anywhere from, I've seen recipes that call for up to a dozen eggs for creme brulee. It's such an important component. When you look at things like chocolate mousse, different things like that, all these recipes that come to mind that are very rich often involve a lot of eggs. So you want to make sure that you're using good eggs. I use free run. You don't necessarily need to go to organic, but I would recommend free run. I don't know what it is about this one that I get, but I just find the taste is better. The yolk has got a much brighter color than the normal standard eggs at the store. When it comes to substitutes, I really don't recommend ever substituting eggs because I think they're just so important. But oftentimes things like, depending on the recipe of course, things like applesauce would work. When it comes to eggs, I would recommend a certain tool, a tool that would only cost $1 that will save your life, I think, for a lot of recipes that call for separating eggs. You'll see in a lot of recipes that I do, I separate my eggs for certain recipes, certain times it is required, because the egg whites of an egg can become very foamy and very light and airy, and you would want that for things like a meringue. So you'd oftentimes see me separate an egg, in which case I would use one of these. It's actually an egg separator. You put it over a glass, you crack the egg, it saves the yolk and drops the egg whites in the glass. It really saves a lot of time. It's a lot less of a hassle than trying to do the technique of separating the eggs by hand. It's hassle-free. It's definitely a small investment I would recommend. And then you have the egg yolks that are oftentimes for recipes that really require that richness from the yolk, because the yolk is quite rich, especially in desserts. I've seen oftentimes for things like a flourless torte, for example, would require you to separate your eggs. Anything that is really like, for example, custard or things like that, would it require you to separate your eggs. And it's very important to remember that that you need to follow those steps, because you can get an entirely different product if you don't follow. Even if a recipe calls for egg whites and egg yolks in a recipe, if you don't separate them, if you just say, well, it requires 2 eggs, and you put them in just put them in as they are, you're not going to get the result you're looking for. So following the procedure for eggs is very important. With regards to the type of eggs to buy, again, I would just recommend the large eggs. Doesn't matter if they're brown or white or whatever, it doesn't make a difference. But yeah, this is another important component in baking, and I certainly hope that this video helps in some way. Just giving, it's not a very detailed video. I just wanted to give you a little background behind eggs, what they're used for, why they're used, and I hope that I solved any questions that you do have. But if you still do have questions, please leave a comment below and I will do my best to answer them. And again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. It really helps, and yeah, I hope you're all doing well, and I'll see you in the next video.